Hi. Yeah, so you said that you're having problems with um like your voice going squealy, I guess, when you go up in pitch. Um, is it kind of a like it won't kind of pop in, like it won't kind of you can't get the sound out kind of thing? I mean, if that's the case, um, there's not like necessarily any one given cause. I mean, there could, like, theoretically there could be some like underlying issue, but a lot of the time it might just be that like you don't know how to get there, right? um so there's kind of a few different routes to go down in kind of like trying to regain some of that range, because what we tend to find is that range is normally quite malleable once we start kind of putting the tools into place to kind of work on regaining it or like gaining it in the first place. um so you know First up, I'll just, think about like what pitch you're actually going for, right? Like how high are you going? If it's like, if you do a change like mm, and like it becomes a problem, um, then like you probably have to do just baby steps, and sort of try and regain what isn't super accessible. But if you can work up to mm, like that is feasibly enough range to like get started on the other stuff, if that makes sense. um in terms of what you can do to sort of regain range or like gain range in the first place, um you would probably want to utilize SOVT exercises, SOVTE, semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. um Basically, um, they softies are sounds where the airflow is kind of impeded somewhere that isn't the vocal folds on its way out. So for our interests, we could list a few options. So we could have V sounds, v, we could have humming sounds, M sounds, mm, or we could maybe have like a lip trill sound. Or if you were feeling quirky, you could also have maybe a straw and water sound, where you're kind of blowing bubbles and putting your voice in at the same time, with the caveat that you want to kind of not go too deep with the straw, generally speaking. But yeah, so those are like some sounds that you could use, and what you can practice doing in no super specific way is just practicing if you can move pitch, even if you have to go down first, right? Um, or like maybe you just warm up with lower stuff to begin with and see if that induces any change. Um, but that could be things like sustaining sounds. Mm, it could be things like sliding up and down. Mm, it could be something like a pitch wiggle. I don't know what other people call these, but right where you're just sort of moving through that range and trying to make sure it feels comfy as you go. Now, mm, you don't have to be super specific, I guess, with these warm ups, but you do want to make sure it doesn't hurt at any point, and ideally, you want it to like feel comfortable overall. Um, but don't be totally afraid to like try and nudge up against boundaries, though. But yeah, hopefully that gives you some direction. Um, if you are just starting to like implement vocally warm up, soft tea type things, um, mm, you would want to probably dot them throughout your day a little bit. But aside from that, you also want to bear in mind that this is one of those things in voice training that is unlikely to net like necessarily immediate changes, right? So I'd recommend like sticking with like a routine-ish type thing for 2 weeks where you try, whenever you just have a free moment, try doing one of the maybe the things I kind of demonstrated before, and just see if you can kind of see if that makes any difference. You may also want to play with the volume you're at. So like you don't only want to do the softest sounds ever, and you don't only want to do loud sounds either. So yeah, hopefully that helps and gives you some direction.